With the current Big Ten where it's at and where it's heading into, what Northwestern situation is, I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt has a higher opportunity, a higher chance of winning the SEC in the future. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football back at it again. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, NFL draft, anything related to American football, hit the red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also hit the like button too, and follow on Twitter. Twitter fam is growing. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Oh my gosh, we got some drama in the Big Ten. There's a really, really big story out here. One of the longest tenured coaches in the Big Ten just got canned. And let's just say it was kind of a contentious situation. We've got reports about A, we've got reports about B. A and B don't agree with each other, but that's where we're at. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over that. We're also going to go over kind of some people that have defended this coach. And then we're going to go over what this means for this team going in the future, because unfortunately, I do not see a scenario where this team is competitive for the next couple of decades, man. I just don't see it. But let's get into that story right now, because we're talking about Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern. So the first thing here, we talk about this report that came out here. And again, we talk about this because it was about an ex-Northwestern player. It says a coach, Pat Fitzgerald, failed by not stopping hazing. So let's talk about this story really quickly here from Adam Rittenberg, a former Northwestern football player who came forward with allegations of widespread hazing within the program, spoke Sunday with University President Michael Schill, who is considering harsher discipline for Coach Pat Fitzgerald. The former player, who spoke to ESPN on the condition of anonymity, said he told Schill about the hazing he witnessed and experienced at Northwestern, much of which he said was sexualized. Schill, in a letter sent Saturday to the Northwestern community, said he will reassess the 2-week suspension Pat Fitzgerald received Friday following a university commission investigation of the hazing allegations. Fitz absolutely knew about the hazing in the program, the former player told ESPN. Fitz absolutely failed by not intervening. Fitz knew, and he should have made it stop. And if he truly did not know, he should not be the head coach. Either way, he should not be the head coach because he is not monitoring and protecting the safety and well-being of the students. Fitzgerald, the team's coach since 2006 and a decorated former Northwestern player, said in a statement on Friday that he had no knowledge of hazing activities within the program. The university's investigation, led by attorneys Maggie Hickey and Art Fox Schiff firm, found that while the former player's allegations were largely supported by evidence, coaches did not know about ongoing hazing. Although they had opportunities to discover and report problematic conduct, the school did not release specific findings. Northwestern players on Saturday released a statement supporting Fitzgerald, saying he had no knowledge of the alleged incidents and that the accusations from former players were exaggerated and twisted. Oh boy, we got ourselves some drama here. The former player said Sunday that Schill was extremely receptive to his accounts of having hazing within the program and offered him resources to deal with the trauma. Now, here is where it gets very interesting, because we hear about all these things, all the allegations, blah, blah, blah. Here's what a current player had to say. Again, former player who's anonymous, said a bunch of hazing happened, sexualized in nature, some even racial in nature, things like that. We talk about a current player at Northwestern, he says, who asked to be remained anonymous. Again, also told ESPN on Sunday that the former player, whose hazing allegations late in 2022 launched the investigation, informed him of a detailed plan with the sole objective to take down Fitzgerald. We got a scorned lover here. The current player on Sunday relayed a conversation he said he had early this year with the former player to Northwestern trustees and other influential university figures. He just kept emphasizing, yeah, it'll be okay. I'm just trying to get Coach Fitz fired, the current player told ESPN. I don't think he ever acknowledged what he's saying is not true. It was just like, quote, I might embellish or exaggerate to get Coach Fitz fired. He said his sole goal was to see Coach Fitz rot in jail. The truth is that none of that stuff happened in our locker room. And boy, a lot of those allegations were out there. We heard some things like, black players need to cut their dreads because it's not a part of our culture. People weren't allowed to be black. Being black was inappropriate. We also had some sexualized things in nature that weren't reported here. Lots of really interesting things that kind of go through there. Interesting from a negative perspective. I'm not like, this is cool. But again, we have former player, horrible environment. Current player, what the hell are you talking about? There's a bit of a situation there between those two things. However, it doesn't really matter because Coach Fitz was fired anyway. So that report that I just reported on was from the 9th. This one is from the 10th, from today, 6:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Northwestern fires football coach Pat Fitzgerald amid hazing claims, and again, they stay hazing claims. We're going to get into that here in a second here. Quote, the head coach is ultimately responsible for the culture of his team. University President Michael Schill wrote in an open letter to the school community, the hazing we investigated was widespread and clearly not the secret within the program, providing Coach Fitzgerald with the opportunity to learn what was happening. Either way, the culture in Northwestern football, while incredible in some ways, was broken in others. Defensive coordinator David Braun is expected to be named Wildcats acting coach, according to sources they told ESPN. The firing of Fitzgerald comes after the school announced Friday that he'd be suspended without pay for 2 weeks following the conclusion of a university commission investigation, and we saw the whole situation there. Again, whatever the situation here, whether or not it's true or not, we're getting conflicting reports. The university ultimately decided that he's just too hot of a property to move forward with. Now, there was reports here, and again, we see this from Clay Travis. Some people like Clay Travis, some people don't. I think he's a reasonably credible, member of the media out there. He found a report, a letter, I should say, from a former, staff member about defending Coach Fitzgerald. Let's get into that really quickly here. So Clay Travis tweets here. He says, either Pat Fitzgerald is an awful human being and tons of people affiliated with the program are still lying, covering up for him, or isolated instances of alleged hazing may have happened and someone is trying to get him fired by exaggerating them. I vote the latter. Read below. This right here is from I'm Eduardo Soto, and I worked at Northwestern football for 5 years from 2016 to 2021. I wrote this letter to President Schill and the AD Greg this morning. The letter says, my name is Eduardo Soto. I graduated from Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences with a degree in economics as a member of the class of 2020. I worked with the football staff during my entire time at Northwestern, which ranged from August 2016 to May of 2021. I started as an equipment manager on the team, and a role I took on before even stepping foot in Northwestern classroom. That fall, I suffered a traumatic brain injury and became frighteningly close to death. Coach Fitz supported my family and me throughout my recovery ever since. He visited me in the hospital, went out of his way on game day to check with me on the sidelines, and gave me his phone number so I could contact him if I ever needed anything. We come down here to a couple more important things here to kind of go through this. He says, I do not believe that I have to tell you about the caliber of Pat Fitzgerald's character, but just in case, I will touch on it. He's one of, if not the best men I've ever come across. He treats student equipment managers, athletic trainers, and video assistants like they are as important to the success of the program as the offensive and defensive coordinators. The same goes for walk-on players and five-star recruits. That's his secret sauce: respect, appreciation, and humility. And he says down here, I struggle to understand why someone truly concerned with the locker room hazing would not try to report the concerns to the coaches. I know for a fact that the opportunities to schedule a meeting with Coach Fitz were abundant, especially considering Coach Fitz's policy of making himself available to all NUFB family members. Additionally, Fitz holds personal meetings with every single player every single year. At worst, those meetings seem like a good time to bring any real concerns to Coach Fitz's attention. If a concerned student athlete would have brought them to his attention, I am confident Coach Fitz would not have hesitated to take action and put a stop to the alleged behaviors. We don't get to know that for a fact, though, because he was never given the opportunity. Again, we see the fact that Eduardo Soto is standing behind his boy here. So the drama is real. And again, there's part of me that kind of doesn't really want to report on the drama because, again, the more you report on it, the more you kind of choose sides. Here's what we got. Again, either way, it doesn't really matter at this point. Pat Fitzgerald has been let go. I do think that this is something that's really interesting. Last year, one of the only teams in the country to not win a game in America was Northwestern. They beat Nebraska in Ireland. So they kind of had a down year. They're 1 year away from USC and UCLA adding themselves to the Big Ten, in addition to conferences being eliminated. Man, if you really look at it, man, I think that Northwestern is headed for a dark period in their future. They might be able to get out of it. You never really know, but I do know that it's not looking up for Northwestern in the future for a multitude of reasons. Let's get into them right now. Coming over here and checking out Northwestern's record year over year, you see the fact that there's a couple times here where AP posts, which is the most important, at the end of the season, the final AP poll, are you ranked, are you not? We see the fact that it happened 5 times since he's gotten there. However, you think about this. So since he got there in 2006, and they've been ranked in the postseason poll 5 different times. Here's the issue. From 2005 until 1948, the number of times that they finished in the AP poll was twice. That's before Pat Fitzgerald got there. Since he's got there, they've finished 5 times. This future they're heading into, man, he's one of the best coaches they've ever had. Again, I would say arguably, who's the other guy? Your boy Pappy Waldorf. in the late 30s and the early 40s. Pappy Waldorf was one of the better ones here. They ended 5 times as well in the AP poll. However, at 1943, that was when we were in World War II, so that's kind of got an asterisk around it there. But again, you see the fact that we arguably experienced one of the best head coaches in Northwestern's history. Whether or not it's been deserved or not, it doesn't matter. He is no longer there, and I'm telling you, Northwestern's headed for an interesting, and by interesting, I mean negatively interesting situation. So when you think about the Big Ten, so here's where we're at right now. So we see in the East right now, we've got Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State's rolling too. Michigan State had a down year at 5-7. They're more than capable of coming back. Maryland surprised at 8-5. They're one of the 4th best team at 8-5. We go down to the West and we see Purdue won the league at 8-6. No, again, they were 8-5 heading into that championship week. They lost the championship game. Illinois had a surprising year. Iowa, I've actually been a big defender of Iowa. I think that Iowa, their defense is fine. They need to get some sort of semblance of modern offense on the offensive side of the ball. Wisconsin, what's interesting to see what's going to happen with Wisconsin. Minnesota had a solid season, 9-4. Lost a lot of conference games, unfortunately. Nebraska's kind of in a down period, and the Northwestern was the worst team in the worst division in the Big Ten. You think about the future there. Now they're going to be, instead of having, your Wisconsins, Nebraskas, and Minnesotas more often, you're going to have your Michigans, Ohio States, and Penn States more often. In addition to that, you also have USC and UCLA being added in. So you're going to be in a situation where you just lost you're one of the best coaches you've ever had. You're going to be in a much tougher conference schedule. You're not only that, but you're also going to be in a situation where you're going to have to be playing really good LA schools in addition to more Michigans, more Ohio States, and more Penn States. It's really not adding up very well. I will say they're trying some things. They have a new stadium that's coming in, but even then, it's kind of stepping its back in some ways. So Northwestern did release early design concepts for the dynamic new Ryan Field. It looks really cool, privately funded. One thing about Northwestern is they've got plenty of money from your donors. But you come down here and see one thing. Again, it looks really cool. On the inside, it's a really, really intimate environment. They keep on saying that word, intimate. We come down here and see one of the most important things here. A more intimate setting, significantly smaller crowds, designed for a maximum capacity of 35,000 seats, more than 12,000 fewer than the current Ryan Field, with a state-of-the-art canopy designed to focus noise and light on the field. Again, I think that it's cool, but that's the situation there, is the fact that they're going to be harder games, no more Pat Fitzgerald, and you have less people at your stadium. So it's not really adding up for a golden year or golden age of Northwestern football. So Pat Fitzgerald just got fired. Whether or not it's legit or not doesn't really matter. We see that Pat Fitzgerald just got fired. Okay, they've got one more year before USC and UCLA join the league. You've got one more year before the divisions go away, and now you have to play more Michigans, more Ohio States, and more Penn States. Your stadium is going to lose 12,000 seats. Like I said, I think that, again, $83 million a year, whatever they're going to get from the conference payout, is going to more than make up for the fact that you're probably not going to win very many games. However, if I'm being honest here, with the current Big Ten where it's at and where it's heading into, what Northwestern situation is, I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt has a higher opportunity, a higher chance of winning the SEC in the future than Northwestern does. It's that dark of a future for them. Again, am I being too negative? I'm sorry. Again, I accept all criticism. Just please don't get too mad at me, but get in the comments and like, share, and subscribe, all that stuff. But again, what's your guys' breakdown of this whole situation? What happens to Northwestern in the future? Like I said, if you get that conference payout, you can be okay, I guess we'll take another 1-11 season, but you're going to keep on getting that money. You guys get in the comments right now and let me know what you guys think. But that's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.